Hello, everyone, and thank you for watching the fundraising video. You'll get all the actual numbers in Hope's finance report. So today I'll focus on more generally walking you through our fundraising performance for the last fiscal year, essentially where we landed, what we've learned, and how we plan to move forward. So this fiscal year, we fell short of our revenue goals for the first time ever. Many of you may remember when we set our budget this past year, we knew our fundraising goal was ambitious. But we believe that we were in a strong position to reach for it. And I do want to acknowledge that the goal really was set out of this sense of collective optimism. And we were really aligned from the start in that this was, even though it was a stretch goal, it was something that we felt confident and comfortable working towards. That said, despite our best efforts, we did fall short of our income goals. Our major gifts were down 10% from the previous year, due in part to some key staff transitions. We saw a sharper drop, almost 30% in overall individual giving, which was driven by a range of factors, and I'll touch on those shortly. Corporate giving was our bright spot, thanks to Molly, who just celebrated her 1 year anniversary with us this week, actually. And when it came to foundation support, unfortunately, my limited bandwidth continued to be a factor, and we did not get as far into that area as we'd hoped. So, speaking of factors, there were a few that contributed to us not meeting our goal this year. Some were external factors like the economic uncertainty that comes with an election year. And really, everything else that's going on in the general atmosphere at large has just dampened down donor confidence. Internally, we had the transition of the major gifts officer in the fall and Molly going out on maternity leave. And these things really combined to contribute to us delaying the execution of our annual plan and being more inconsistent in stewardship of our key donors. From this, we've taken away some key lessons. We know that we need to engage the donor pipeline earlier and more intentionally, which is built into our next annual fundraising goals and strategy. We are working closely with the external affairs and I&I teams on messaging, as well as with member services and support to build and revamp really our case for support, which will definitely help us improving on our campaigns throughout the year. And then most importantly, the one thing we're not changing, just building on, is renewing our focus on the donor experience and stewardship. So with that, we have a clear plan and how we want to move forward that takes into account both recovery and growth. Major gifts will be a key area of focus, capitalizing on that on perceived and actual changes to donor advised funds. There are other tax-wise ways of giving, and we're going to focus on those as well. So think stocks and other goods and ways of giving in that area. We do expect individual giving to be the smallest growth area, so our strategy there is to sustain. And we'll be working on automations and segmentations to continue to build on and improve our messaging. The expectation is that grants will be our biggest growth area, and I'm working with Megan and her team to identify potential funding specifically for our research, but I'm also ramping up the number and types of grants we apply for, utilizing the program and impact information we're gathering from teams across the organization. We expect some growth in the area of corporate income, and we're in the early stages of some of those relationships, so that's looking like a really positive growth area. In the immediate term, we're focusing on CEO and board engagement strategy. starting with those of you who have already expressed interest or willingness to help in specific ways. Gabriella will be reaching out to you individually in the next few weeks, so please be on the lookout for that. We're working on some quick reactivation and outreach to our top donors, and then relaunching our mid-year campaign with an emphasis on lapsed and major gifts. In the next 6 to 12 months, we're strengthening our internal capacity with better analytics and how we use our CRM. We're upskilling the development team and redefining our case for support. And then later on, we'll be launching both a monthly donor and lapsed donor reactivation effort as well. But that will be coming later in the year. Long term, we're planning a campaign tied to our 15th year anniversary, and we're going to continue expanding on corporate and foundation partnerships to help diversify our revenue streams. One of the largest factors of us not meeting our goal this year was really our dependence on individual giving. So that's a big component of our focus and strategy moving forward. And here's what we need to make that vision a reality. One of the things we can do better is leverage Joanne's influence. And so we're going to build that into our donor engagement and cultivation. I briefly spoke earlier about the board engagement plan that's in the works. So that will be coming soon. There are some gaps in skill and bandwidth on the fundraising team, and so we'll be addressing those in this coming year as well. But perhaps the thing that we need most is your support and patience as we walk through a long-term plan for a quick turnaround here. Of course, we'll continue to provide you with information and updates as we go along, and we'll continue to assess where we are and making adjustments as necessary. With that, I'd like to thank you for your partnership and your continued belief in this work. As always, if you have any questions or any requests for additional information that I can provide, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.